Upset happen and give some more hope to NA, but I think it's fair to say very few are feeling optimistic. Let's get into our band. Soniqs kicking it off with the first one. I imagine it might be a Thatcher unless they've got something spicy planned. Indeed they do. It's going to be the Maverick.
Exactly that. Maverick's going to be the first one to go on coastline. An interesting choice. Obviously, there's not much hatch play to focus around, which is often where we see Maverick utilised. You're looking more at the nades, I'd have said, specifically, trying to take them out of the lineup.
Does Kaid get banned away is the next question, because with these two bans coming in, you look at it and say, oh, Kaid, VIP wall. What a match made in heaven that might be. But BDS on the banning side to kick things off, it will be the Kaid. They do not want to be dealing with that on the VIP wall. Never thought I'd really see the day where Maverick, Thatcher and Kaid are the three bans you'd see on coastline, but here we are. One more to come in. Soniqs already with their selection locked in. Behind door number 4, please, Carol. It's going to be the... wow, the Aruni being banned away. My heart's broken, because I ain't going to hear you saying...
Laser gates.
Sorry, say again.
Laser gates!
Thank you very much.
There you go, Des. Just for you, at the end of the day. Things always get a bit wild at the end of the day.
Honestly,
Aruni,
we were tripping on something in that last game, I swear. Maybe it was the chocolate bars we had before or whatever.
Who knows?
I don't know.
Who knows? But...
now we're coming back to coastline. I'm not quite in that mood of total derailment, but it's feeling like it could go that way based on how the first few rounds go. We're going to start out in Penthouse and Theatre for the Soniqs, kicking things off on defense. And even though they don't have a Kaid on side, they are going to start out with the Bandit. So much more active in the tricking game onto the VIP wall. Very determined to keep it closed. And on the side of BDS, they've got Rafalu saying, right, you take my Maverick away from me, I'm going to be unleashed, I'm going to be a beast. Brings along the Twitch to help deal with those electrified walls.
I'm not going to go as far as to say that the Aruni is a target ban, because Aruni has many uses. On a lot of sites, we do see her used by multiple teams here on coastline, so there is absolutely possibly a strategic reason for taking Aruni out of that, and there's certain attacks that the Soniqs feel that they will benefit from not having to deal with those laser gates. What I will say is Aruni is one of the main operators that Shaiko plays as well. I'm not saying it's a target towards him necessarily, but it potentially will have an impact on him because he's going to have to play somebody else on defense.
Outside of that, it's all pretty standard, right? Looking across the board, I mentioned Rafael not being on the Maverick is the key one that I see. The other 4 players on BDS, all on pretty standard operators. And rather than pocketing 2 of those bandit batteries, actually what they've done is gone for, well, double reinforcement, double electrification, onto the VIP wall, and double electrification onto the south VIP wall, just to help keep it safe from the south side, ensure that you're not going to get Playday pushing up inside a hookah billiard side, opening that wall up, contesting the players inside of VIP. They really want to keep this one locked down and keep Team BDS out.
Rafael's going to be doing the work on the Twitch drone to try and get in there and take them out. You can see the new long-range laser beam. There you go. I'll get it in somewhere, Des. I'll get it in somewhere. Don't you worry, buddy. I'll look after you. The long-range laser beams of the Twitch drone going to be doing good work there, taking out a couple of those proximity alarms and also potentially looking for those bandit batteries to facilitate getting that VIP wall open. We saw coastline previously, and I spoke about the importance of getting established, getting control over VIP when you're trying to attack onto this site. Yeti, I don't think he's too good there, Des. He's down but not out.
Oh, was it a nade? I don't know. He's gone down in the corner and the barbed wire's still standing, so I assume no. But he'll die for free anyway because Shaiko's managed to, well, catch him. All too easy there for the French side to get started here with an entry kill onto the man, as will I, that you want to see alive for a bit longer. Of course, recently had 2 additional magnets added, the last one recharging at the 30-second remaining mark. Shaiko on his revenge tour. You said you wouldn't want to be against this team when they've just lost the game. Well, they've lost the game, and now Shaiko is awake and, well, ready to pounce in round 1.
I think it's fair to say he was a little bit quiet in that previous game as well, so coming back and really wanting to put his stamp, especially on the attack, coming back, wanting to really put his stamp on this one and starts to do so, finding himself 2 kills already. He's low health, so he's probably just going to be a little bit more cautious as the round goes on. Going to get shut down by Kansan and just gets caught out as he tries to get himself into VIP. Those rotations that they've got opened up there, well, not quite rotations, but the peak holes that they've got opened up, very important. Just allowing the Soniqs to try and maintain some sort of pressure, some sort of control over VIP.
A bit of a slowdown indeed, but they've got themselves into a position, BDS, where at the very least they've got this north side control. Rafael, I mentioned you take this man off the Maverick and he'll get you down with the F2. Finds one for himself, Super and Cans, and all that stands between BDS and victory in round 1. Renshiro at the longer angle. Kansan still holding near side on 90. And Playday doing what Playday does best, getting that diffuser down, taken out by Lems. It's a 1v4 for Super. And not at all to slight the guy, but we know what his record's like with kills. It ain't very good, and it's not going to be enough in a 1 versus 4. BDS, a very convincing first round.
Good start from BDS, got themselves established inside of the map pretty quickly. They were able to take VIP without any major loss. Shaiko went down, but only after he got 2 kills himself, so certainly not the end of the world. Lems had nice cover from Billiards. It was all there for them. I don't feel like the Soniqs were sort of disruptive enough over that BDS attack. You know, they came in, once they were established, there was nothing really that the Soniqs could do to move them. They had the crossfires, they had the cover in place, and it was just a case of A plus B equals C, which was a plant in this case.
Does A plus B equals C?
It did there. I said it did. 1 plus 2 equals 3 does.
Attackers need to locate.
Yeah, but that's not what you said.
I know, it's just an algebraic equation. That's how it works.
And is this where they say A plus B equals C, find X?
Yeah.
And you're just like, okay, fantastic, understood.
Exactly that.
What they don't know is if you apply the square root of A to B, then you get X, and that's the answer to the question. Whatever. Let's get back into round number 2. IQ being brought along by LMs here in anticipation of the Valkyrie, which Grixer is now deploying in this round. One thing I missed a couple of times today has been the Valkyrie not being banned away. We speak about the strength of the Valkyrie.
We've certainly seen her available more than usual.
Yeah, we speak about her an awful lot, but I think that kind of goes to show the increasing priority on target bans, or especially in cases like this where a Thatcher is banned away, you need to also, in 90% of situations, have a Kaid ban also going alongside it. Some teams have liked things like the Wamai ban, which makes for a very spicy game. Or in Dark Zero's case, you ban the Wamai away, bring over 35 grenades across a half and only get 1 frag grenade kill. Who'd have thought? And it was on this map actually as well, earlier on at the start of the day. But just small things like that go to show there is ban variety coming into the game, which to me at least makes it fun. No one wants to see the same 4 bans every single game.
LM's getting himself there on the IQ, just trying to ping out those gadgets, and it will be a black eye camera that he finds to begin with. Very important if you can have, there you go, there's the second one. He's doing a pretty good job of finding them for his team, able to use that ping 2.0 system to highlight them to his team so that they can try and get in there and do something about them, or at least be aware of the location. And an IQ is an ideal pick if you've got the Valkyrie on the other side, because we know how valuable the information from those cams is. Now Renshiro looking to get aggressive here. They're straight into office. They're attacking onto Blue Bar and Sunrise, and this has pretty much been given up for free to BDS. No challenge coming in from the Soniqs, and we know that office is one of the main staging grounds. You've got 2 default plant sites. One's between office just inside of the Blue Bar, and then the other one is by the pool entrance. So pretty much been given that for free here.
He can just sit and hold that angle as comfortably as he likes. There are still 3 members of Soniqs darting around site and inside a kitchen hallway, which is often where teams will play until forced back onto site. They're there, if nothing else, to give some cover to Yeti, who's holding a little aggressively in towards service entrance. Gets a bit of a tag onto Kansan as well off the back of it, but no one going down for either side just yet.
I mean, normally if you're trying to defend Blue Bar, you want somebody in office, or at least you want somebody in main lobby, Des. You open up the wall underneath, which we can see between Blue Bar and courtyard. You open all that up, and then you play from the double door on the right-hand side of the courtyard there from main lobby to try and deny that plant behind Blue Bar. But Soniqs don't have any of that in place, and this should be a real opportunity. And now then, they've moved a couple. I was going to say the other option is to have a few players above to try and play vertically down. They weren't there previously, but the Soniqs have rotated them up there, so that at least gives them options.
No.
But I tell you what, those options are going to be over pretty quick, Des, as Rafal finds himself 2. Lems gets 1 onto Yeti. Suddenly, 5 versus 2 BDS, and they've got to be able to get this diffuser down here, surely.
I'm kind of baffled by this. They had 3 or 4 players go and push out aggressively once they killed like 6, 7 drones for BDS inside 90 seconds. And they've gone looking for trouble, and trouble has found them. They're down to 1 man left alive. Grixer in a 1 versus 5 and loses out to Shaiko. That round looks so good for Soniqs. Again, 7 drones dead. BDS were moving slow because they had no information. They kind of looked stalled out. And for Soniqs, for some reason, think, oh, they must be blind. Let's go and push them ourselves rather than letting them struggle with the push into us. And as I said, they went looking for trouble. Trouble found them.
Like I said, I feel like the Soniqs had to do that to a degree, though.
I don't.
They didn't have any way of denying a plant in Blue Bar, or they were
They're courtyard.
potentially struggled. They didn't have anybody active in there.
Yeah, but they had no control of courtyard or lobby. They had one inside of security looking to contest in there, but didn't want to push forward because there were no drones and no information. But instead, as mentioned, you know, sending 2 upstairs with no idea what's going on in Aqua, looking for someone they didn't even know was there. It was, yeah, just not great. Again, I appreciate the idea, but just really didn't come out the way they wanted it to. Kitchen and Service going to be site number 3. And as it stands, BDS mean business. There is only 1 kill on the side of Soniqs across those 2 rounds. That will happen when round number 1 was a flawless, and they only had the 1 kill coming in the prior. But it's not looking good to be a Soniqs or an NA fan today in general. Period. That's it.
Nope, it's been a rough tournament so far. BDS then coming into round 3 on the attack. Soniqs will be defending Kitchen this time around. We'll see if they put a force upstairs to try and prevent the vertical access. We're going to have Ranshiro bringing the sledge along as is normal for him. Utility being deployed upstairs, so I would expect to see a presence up there. We've got a reinforcement on VIP wall. We've got the deployable shield out towards Hooker. We've got the alibi decoy in there as well. So I would expect to see Soniqs trying to play up and around there and just burn as much time as possible to prevent them getting into the vertical control too quickly at least.
There's someone lay down in lobby there hoping to catch Rafal on the rip in the early spawn, but not quite so fortunate. We look back to that game earlier on where Empire played. They had Dan trying to play through the drone hole every single time. Rafal hoping to get that drone away is not going to be successful. Rexon picking that one up, but not before he lost an ADS. Is helping, giving some cover here inside of the lobby.
Second Twitch drone is going to go in. First one was taken out. Just looking to get a little bit more of that utility in and around site. Can't find anything. Doesn't find any operators either. But the absence of operators can be as important as the presence sometimes. And we just see that Twitch drone once again.
Just got something.
Carrying on. Got some more utility taken down. And BDS again just trying to soften up the site here. Look at that. Taking out the ADSs. Taking out the default cam. And what they're trying to do is make it difficult for Rexon to stay inside a main lobby there.
Reminds me of our rank stack. This does. Me charging around in the drones all day. You guys like, Des, it's a 2v5. I'm like, hang on, I'm getting this to full cam.
Someone's got to get him, Des.
Someone's got to get him. It's got to be me. In comes a grenade, destroys the shield, facing out towards Hookah. So it's small work being done by BDS. I mean, it has been passive, right? It's been down to the shock drones, the nades coming through and clearing things out, a bit of drone work coming in. They are once again being whittled down on drone counts, so I'll give that to the Soniqs. They are going through these drones pretty quickly.
And Shiro now able to start getting those vertical angles. And that is interesting, Des. It's worth mentioning that the changes go a little bit beyond what you always see. We've had the window removed and a double wall put in that's a soft wall. Now, that's created a completely new angle. You wouldn't have been able to open the floor up and look through it from the balcony previously. So it's, you know, there's a lot more that comes in with these changes than might be immediately obvious to people. So Ranshiro just in there doing the renovation work, trying to get the vertical angles as much as possible, trying to pressure the defenders inside a kitchen, get them moving. They haven't been able to deal with Rexon inside of main lobby yet. He's dipped himself back into security, but whilst he remains there, he's making BDS's life difficult.
2 drones left, and what are Soniqs not doing this round compared to what they did in the prior? They're not getting over aggressive or cheeky. They're just holding positions and saying, hey BDS, you guys are on attack in case you forgot. You're the ones who need to act. They need to find this push coming in now because they've been sat in the same positions for about 2 minutes and achieved very little. Kansan strikes first, Yessi with another. A great example of what happens when you have no information. Alem's no idea where the crossfire is going to come in from. He falls down as an absolute freebie. Playday, the next one to fall. Much better from Soniqs. You don't need to panic. Just let BDS run into the tip of the spear with this lack of information they've got on side.
You love to see it, and Rexon's been an absolute nuisance to BDS here. Not only has he wasted 2 minutes playing inside a lobby, they've had no answer to moving him. He's also got himself a kill there at the end, and you know, the fact that he was traded out, really not the end of the world. It was meaningless as it came down. It was a nice round from the Soniqs there. A lot of things went right for them. They did a lot of things well, and it gets them one on the board and starts them fighting here on Coastline. You'll love to see it.
If your opponent's slow, just let them be slow, right? I touched on it again in the previous round about them going looking for trouble. In that round, it was just sitting back, killing off drones, starving BDS of information, and letting them be the ones to make the mistakes. And it's something I always talk about, not just in Siege, but in many, many games. Sometimes the key to ranking up isn't to be the one trying to make the hero plays. Let your opponents make the mistakes and capitalize. And it applies from playing in like Copper all the way up to playing at a professional level. If they're going to mess up, just let them make the mistakes. It's not an issue at all. A really good round from Soniqs, and I hope we see that trend continue throughout this first half.
Going to be heading back up to hooker and billiards then. Soniqs now able to move themselves around. Of course, they could have gone back to hooker anyway, as they haven't played there as of yet. It's going to be the first attempt onto this one. Going to have the mute jammers placed on that quad wall, just try and prevent it being opened up from the rooftop. The Hibana is onside with Playday, sorry. He could do that from the rooftop, prevent the defenders playing in behind the bar, make their life a little bit difficult, make it more difficult for them to move in and rotate through from VIP back into sight. Double window, of course, always going to be hotly contested as well. If BDS can get somebody established on there, we've seen how powerful a position that can be already today.
Absolutely. The mirror is the big one for me. They can do a lot of work if required. Looking towards Rafal here, though, on those shock drones. He's been using them very aggressively time and time again throughout these rounds, and this is when he can really come into his own. Of course, has that small impediment in the form of a mute that he's got to deal with, but look at this. Just sapping gadgets out for fun. That's 3 taken out in quick succession, and that's how much damage these Twitch drones can do. Get the other one out in the field, let that one start recharging, and you're going to be laughing as the Twitch player.
Certainly are. A lot of work done there and making it very difficult to play at the top of Cool Vibe stairs there. Now then, just feeding that information back in. Going to dip away, doesn't want to lose the Twitch drone. We've just seen how powerful it can be, so just continuing that process. Ultimately does lose it, but I tell you what, Des, it had already earned its keep.
Well, what? Mute jammers, ADSs, yeah, just walking through and taking out whatever the team need here, and that removes so much work, because think about how much some teams will commit to removing utility. Flashes, frag grenades, EMPs if available, they'll burn through the lot. And here that just simply hasn't been a requirement because of the work of one cheeky, annoying little drone. Either way, Shaiko's the first one dead in the round. I imagine with some grenades still in back pocket. In fact, both of them still in back pocket once they've gone down. Unfortunate, he's relegated off to being drone watcher for the rest of this round, and there is still a lot of round to play, Ace. 100 seconds still to go.
Certainly is. Soniqs looking, I won't say unrecognisable, but certainly looking different to the team that we saw in the first couple of rounds. Much more patient here, waiting for those opportunities and more importantly, taking them when they present themselves. Rafal sending in that Twitch drone again, taking out yet more utility. I think that was one of the Wamai magnets. Doesn't get through to the mirror though.
BDS were trying, were trying really hard there to kind of mask the Twitch drone by sending other drones in at the same time and almost sacrificing them for the greater good. The mirror, Grixer, doesn't get sidetracked by those, doesn't go for the rest. His sole focus is on the shock drone, and it pays off. So the gambit from BDS and from Rafal here is to make good use of those shock drones. They're struggling to really make them work in the right places though. Yes, you're getting ADSs, you're getting things like that, but the big meaty target was those mirror windows, and they still remain standing.
48 seconds left to go, and we see Super just deploying that Toxic Babe canister onto the hooker balcony door there. He knows that's where the push is coming from. Renshiro's also joining in that location. He's just trying to deny time now. He needs to be careful if he goes to step out. He's actually going to dip himself down onto Cool Vibe stairs. All his Toxic Babe canisters are burnt out now. He knows that there's somebody there. They're knocking out the barbed wire. Surely he gets this one. Yes! Hey! Super finds the kill onto Alems. 5 versus 2 now as Soniqs are really getting themselves rolling here. Playday manages to find Yeti, but with 15 seconds left to go, this is a big ask. Out goes the Nitro from Grixer. More just to delay the push than anything, just to prevent them being able to move forward. Kansan finds Playday, and it is now all up to the last man. Kansan gets him. That's going to be the round for the Soniqs. That's going to tie things up 2-2, and we've got a game here. BDS certainly having a bit of a wobble today.
It's again another round where the Soniqs go, we don't need to push, we don't need to be aggressive. Just let BDS run themselves into a wall of frustration. And my God, do they look frustrated. They may be at 2-2, but it has just not looked good, right? They couldn't break open this mirror window for not 2.5 minutes of trying. And in case you're curious as to why you heard Sonic shoot it open towards the end, it's because they wanted to use it as a swing hole, right? You don't need to sit and play passive anymore. You want as many gunfight angles as possible. So opening up that window gave them cool vibes. It gave them over the bar inside of Hookah itself. It gave them the mirror window. And if someone's a crouch height, also the doorway. 4 angles in a 4 versus 2 to contest. There's no way BDS win that.
That's the thing. It's more angles for BDS to have to check. When they go in there, they could be hit from 1 of 3, 4 places rather than just 1 or 2. Yeah. And it just makes their life a lot more difficult. We're going to have a tactical pause from BDS here, talking about a difficult life. They obviously think that they need to take a step back from this and just try to calm things down. Things maybe just running away from them a little bit.
I didn't know you were their coach, mate. You got a haircut since last time.
It's just too easy, Des, isn't it?
Oh, it is, it is. There's a fun little joke that
I'm nowhere near as good looking as Bias.
You're less shiny. He's like the shiny version of you. You're like a Pokemon card.
And he's the better version.
Yeah, but you got the shirt.
Very true, very true.
Don't know what that really, the variation is. It's not quite an evolve. Is it in evolved form of you? I don't know. I can't figure this out in my own head. Someone's going to have to come up with an analogy for it at some point. But for BDS, I do want to touch on one other thing. You know, when I look back again at previous tournaments where I've consistently said, always the stage, never the spotlight. They've always came up towards the top 4, top 8, for example, but never quite done the business to get to the grand final and win it all. It's always come down to one shaky day, one poor series that has cast them over the edge. This day too, they had a poor performance earlier on today against NIP. They just made a lot of very silly mistakes. This game here, they're lacking the bite that they're so well regarded for. And it's been a whole day of being off kilter. Imagine if this happens again when you come to the quarterfinals on Friday, when you come to the semi-finals on Saturday. You can't afford to have 2 really poor performances in the same day. And I know I'm kind of doomsaying because it's 2-2. It's not 4-0 to the Soniqs yet. But it's just rounds where Soniqs aren't doing anything special. They're sat on site just holding mirror windows and waiting for you to come and push them, and you're unable to figure out what to do. That's the problem.
Soniqs setting up to try and hold on to Kitchen here. It's going to be Sunrise and Blue Bar that they're actually defending, but of course we know how important this location can be. Real power spot if the attackers can get themselves established there, really helps them get themselves into that default spot inside of Pool Door. Also setting up Super there, the mirror, to look towards that office wall. This is the option to be able to deny that plant if you're not going to play somebody over in sort of main lobby courtyard. But what I like here is that the Soniqs have got people on that side of the map to begin with this time, whereas last time they were trying to rotate them upstairs and they got cut off by BDS. However, Renshiro finding a big opener onto Kansan there. That is a good start. The Wamai gone, so no more magnets over time.
Absolutely. It's again one of those operators that the power spike increases, as we like to say, the longer a round goes on. And I was going to touch on potentially bringing along a Mozzie as well. They've done a great job of whittling down drones. Again, look, 4 are dead already this early in the round against the side of BDS. And I thought a Mozzie would really double down on dealing with the threat of those shock drones and taking away information from the side of BDS. But instead they've lent really heavily into playing Wamai and Jaeger as a pairing. The mirror, non-negotiable, can't remove it. Mute is taking up one of those slots that a Mute Mozzie already has to sit into, so the only real option to take away would be the alibi. But they desperately want the shield to play behind, which is why you're seeing that being committed more and more. Otherwise, what's the point in having the Wamai and the Jaeger? They've got to be there to protect something. So it makes sense, but again, I think a Mozzie would be really interesting to see in this lineup, just to double down on the damage they're doing to the info game coming out of BDS, who, whilst I've been talking, have lost 4 drones. They're down to 2.
Super going to take out Shaiko there to level things up. 4 versus 4 now. They haven't chosen to take the glass out of the mirror window just yet, Des. They have opened up above it, and that's probably enough to stop it being played from behind. So, you know, maybe not necessary to take that glass out and open up that line of sight. But Playday is going to start opening up some verticality as well. Grixer, he's got the angle from main lobby. This is the one that I was talking about. That's one of your options to try and contest onto a blue bar plant. He can also rotate through to office like this to stop them trying to get established inside of there.
That's put them down to 1 drone. I looked at that from Renshiro and I thought, okay, think about the number of NA teams, and I always think of NA when I say this. They'll see someone, they'll immediately turn the drone 90 degrees and they'll jump, get it out of dodge. But it's just throwing drones in for the sake of it at this point. What have they collected from that information other than someone is going to challenge you with full entrance, which they knew was going to be a thing because of the site they're playing on, right? It just feels like lazy droning coming out of BDS, and that's what I'm concerned by.
Elems and Renshiro taking a lot of damage there as well. There's Rexon just being tickled by a grenade, but not going to do too much at all. Continues to fight. Playday, however, finds Yeti, and there's an opportunity for him to get in and get the diffuser down. I think that's exactly what it's going to do, but he doesn't even have the time as Elems finds that final kill. Things just fall apart in the last 20 seconds of the Soniqs there, which is unfortunate because they were holding on to site quite nicely, but BDS, they get themselves around after the tactical timeout. They go to 3-2 on the attack, but I tell you what, I don't think the Soniqs will mind a 3-all half if they can pull this one off on the defense.
Well, Playday in that round as well with a big 3k and going for the plant. Goga might have been the I plant, but this guy's the I kill, stepping in like an absolute fragging machine. And we say this about BDS is consistently, for my money, they are, as a sum total of the 5 players on this squad, probably some of the best gunners we've got in the world as a sum total as an entire team. You might look at others, say, I don't know, Yas, and point and say, okay, he's a better gunner than Rafal, whatever. When you combine all the players on a team together, BDS on my money have one of the highest amounts of gun skill. And even in rounds, how they already lost the drone? Oh, never mind, it's because it's Twitch. I got really carried away then, I was like, hang on a minute. I think even when you look at it this way, it's not the end of the world because you know they can go on to win rounds with gun skill. Even when they're running out of utility, even when they're being ground to a halt with nothing seemingly to be able to do, they will just find round wins because they're that good.
It is the case. We've seen it time and time again.
That round's the case there, like Bredey, the support player, charges in, kills three of you.
It is absolutely the case. You have this really close round, and like you say, BDS maybe not gaining access to everything they might want to, but then all of a sudden, just brute force, bang, right, there's a kill. Now it opens. Easy. And they are one of those teams, and that's an important element, I think, if you're looking to build a championship team. BDS certainly have that ability. But Soniqs, like I said, they've looked pretty good so far. If they can lock this one down, get a 3-0 half, I think they'll be quite happy with that. Getting the Vault cams out there, Grix are just looking for that information. They're going to be trying to hold down Kitchen now. We saw them do this in round 3. It was actually their first successful defence as well, Des, so probably a bit of confidence coming in with this as well. They've already managed to lock this site down. More of the same from the Soniqs coming in, hopefully, for them.
Still got one of his cameras in back pocket. Of course, we saw one out by DJ, one actually inside the VIP itself, which is where you would assume attackers would start things off. They want to get the vertical control. They want to get some angles opened up in the floor. They want to start forcing the defenders off-site before they look for their execute, or at the very least make it uncomfortable for the defenders to get back on site when things are about to kick off. Do like the very kind of specific placement of that camera, by the way, enough that it's behind the tissue box, that BDS wouldn't see it on just walking into the room, but could give them a lot of information once they start walking through. Rafal finding his first kill. This one onto Rexon, just outside of the white window. He can now get himself inside, and the push across from the east side can begin. I don't think he knows about Grixer that sat just inside this room. There's a drone behind him and a red ping coming in. He must know that he's about to get pushed and be able to respond to this, but here comes Grixer. He's hungry, he wants it, and for some reason, Rafal is sat on his drone despite being red pinged.
Well played by Grixer there and by the Soniqs in general, just using that information to enable that kill. Level things up 4 versus 4 and still no vertical control. Out goes the Nitro, but it's going to have no joy on the DJ booth. Interestingly, Grixer still having Black Eye camera in pocket there. He's just going to dump it out into Hall of Fame just to support this roam game, and it's an interesting use of Valkyrie doing it that way, keeping Hams in pocket. Yeti just winning the fight there, just wins the fight on White's there. Simple as that. Takes down 11's Kansan, Shaiko gone. 4 versus 2 for the Soniqs.
All they do is win. 4 versus 2, a much better round out of the Soniqs compared to the prior, which admittedly was in a bit of a mad flurry towards the bitter end. But one here where they've got a little bit of control, where they can get out there and contest these individual members of BDS. They're standing up amongst some of the best in the world, and that is absolutely nothing to be too concerned about. A 4 versus 2 with 45 seconds to play. BDS have got a lot of work to do, and as good as Renshira and Bredey can be, I'm not convinced this one's going to be winnable.
And no, I'd agree with you. I think the Soniqs are pretty much falling back now. They're not looking to hassle too much. They've got one inside a courtyard by the looks of it, possibly over in security. A little bit difficult just to tell the exact distance on the silhouette, but it doesn't matter because Kansan shuts down Renshiro from main lobby. And the Soniqs, they've got the site locked down. They've got 1 or 2 out there to continue making challenges. It was courtyard and Bredey finds Grixer, but still 1 versus 3, 18 seconds left to go. The Soniqs don't need to do much here nowadays other than what they're doing. They're just getting super, smoking that door out, and they're just going to wait for Bredey to have to do something. There it is. It's Super that finds him. Having a good game on the kills so far. Certainly getting involved and getting himself on that leaderboard. And the Soniqs, they managed to level things up 3-3. Now, how can they do on the attack?
That's what makes me a bit nervous for BDS, is that was on the attack on Coastline, a map that generally we've seen attackers do very well on over the competition so far. Now Soniqs get the chance to turn their hand to it and see what they can deliver. I wonder if we'll see any Twitch coming out or if it'll be a different story altogether. There are, of course, various ways in which you can deal with the electronic threats scattered around the map. From what we're seeing on our screen so far, it's just the IQ coming along from Rexon. 6 picked away onto the Twitch. Okay, so I was thinking the IQ would do the job. I don't think it's as effective, so I like that we're seeing Twitch coming in.
Yeah, I think, you know, you've got to, like you say, you've got to have those options to try and take that those gadgets out. Like you say, IQ can't impact on them directly herself. She can ping them out, she can give the information to her team, but there's nothing that she can do directly because the bullets don't go through concrete. Simple as that.
Shaiko on the Mozzie. We spoke about the mute coming through for Soniqs back in the first half, so again, a small change, suggesting to me that Shaiko really wants to be getting off site and roaming rather than playing like a mute normally would, sat on site with a shotgun, for example. Do believe we saw Soniqs, though, when they were playing the Mute, bring along the MP5K more often than not. Big fan, really approve of it, as long as you've got someone, of course, to play a shotgun across the rest of the team. So for BDS here, I'm very keen to see how their defensive play style shapes up. You're likely going to have a couple out on the roam. Elems and Shaiko are the two that I look at when I say that, whereas things like Playday and Renshiro likely to sit around site, try and keep those magnets alive for a little bit longer. And Rafał kind of sits as that flex in the middle that can lend help wherever is required.
Rexon just going to be collecting his drone there before he looks to push forward, just taking care over any potential peaks. I don't think BDS are going to be bringing that sort of aggression here at 3-3. They know that they've got to win these rounds, so they're certainly not going to be wanting to throw lives away early in the round. Rexon heading all the way up. Nope, he's going to stay on the upside down rappel whilst he gets on to that Twitch run. Just clears out. No, he's up onto the roof. He's just giving himself the option to open the barricade safely, and then the Twitch run will go in, try and start clearing out some of that utility.
All right. As it stands, no one yet going down early on either on, so despite the initial drone work come flying in from the side of Soniqs, no one has yet found themselves taken out on the side of BDS. So much the same as what we saw out of Soniqs on the attack. You've got BDS just sitting still and saying, hey, okay, you guys have got to work through this. You've got to keep on pushing your way in, get your information before you can look to try and contest us out. I don't think any of those ex-Kairos went off from Super onto the bottom side of that wall. I think they got sprayed out. So that will keep it closed up. The player on Vars is going to be safe for a lot longer. And for BDS, that means more sitting around and waiting to see what Soniqs do next.
Lots of drone work going on for the Soniqs at the mid-round there. 3 of them at that point in time, just droning out, trying to get the information on the location of these BDS players. Elems, it's going to be to find Rexon and open things up. Rafał takes down the Gemini decoy, but the... Oh, there you go. I was just going to comment on the ex-Kairos pellets opening that wall up at the bottom and making it difficult for Rafał to stay in place, but that's the least of his worries as the nade comes in and cleans him out. 4-4 now in terms of man count. Soniqs making progress, still need to get themselves established if they need to think about a plant.
Shaiko's just crept his way back inside of Hookah, I think, as well, tucked in the corner, so he's a little bit trapped here. This should be easy, really, for him to be taken out, but no. Magnets doing their work, catching out these grenades, and Shaiko, he's just charging back and forth. He knows they're on the window, he knows they're at the door. They're literally everywhere looking to find themselves a kill onto him, but isn't that easy? One swings in, Shaiko, the demon himself, finds one back. Flash comes forward. This time he's dead. A good bit of team play coming out of Soniqs.
Nice coordination there, just piling in behind the Flash. It was a shame that Grixer lost his life before that to Shaiko, but they've got him cleaned out. 3 versus 3. Renshiro on Cool Vibes is going to make this a problem, though. This is still nice setup from BDS. They know it's an important location. They lost Rafał there. They lost Shaiko there. They keep replacing that man. Keep sending somebody back because they've recognised that that is where the push is coming from. Yeti, he is established inside of Aquarium there, looking to pressure from that opposite side. It's nice from Kansan, just taking the man out as he drops away and hits the shots with the pistol. He's on a quad des. This could be the ace. No, he's not quite ready as he goes out into the corridor. Breedy, surely not. 1 versus 3 comes back to a 1 versus 1. Diffuser is down cold. Breedy finds the headshot. The round is never over whilst Breedy is still alive. What a clutch from the support master himself.
We call him Breedy-S sometimes, and that is why. The man essentially solo winning out a round that I thought for a second Kansan was going to get over the finish line for the Soniqs. Elems, I don't know if he was just practicing a bit of Stairmaster work there, but he was going up and down whilst Kansan was charging around. Does finally get found out by the pistol and charges forward into what looks to be a surefire win. Look, like up, down, so goes back down again here. I'm like, guy, are you okay? And then back up, and then dies, and I'm like, okay? It was this point onwards here, because Super as well, he ate a few mouthfuls of smoke and got choked out by Breedy. If he hadn't have done that and it stayed in a proper true 3v1 rather than a 2v1 and the other that died to, air quotes, environmental effects, that could have been a very different end to that round.
What a shame for Kansan, I gotta say it.
I know.
Low on ammo in his primary. Low on ammo in his pistol. Has no choice but to reload. He's going out there, and the last kill of the potential ace it's there in front of him. But Breedy just does Breedy things.
That's why you just like shrug your shoulders and go, I got my 1, and 2, and 3,
and 4.
And 4 as well.
Kansan, great round from him. Unfortunate that he was unable to finish that off. BDS, however, take their first defense. They're going to head down to Kitchen here in round 8. Honestly, guys, this is a really entertaining game. This is one of the... I'm really enjoying this.
It's entertaining in a way that's unconventional as well. Like, we're seeing a number of multi-kills, yeah, but the rounds don't feel like a classic Coastline game. It's the defenders saying, well, we haven't got to go hyper-aggressive and meet you at doorways. Compare that to, say, Down 1 Kia, who were charging out of every window and doorway they possibly could. This game is a little bit more static, where it's about the actual sites themselves. It's all about objective-based play, and a lot of the onus is falling onto the attackers to be the ones that are being proactive, which is kind of what you come to expect. Defenders tend to be a little bit more reactive, whereas attackers are the ones that have got to figure out the puzzles that are presented before them by the defenders. And I like how it's shaped out so far. It makes Coastline look a lot more strategical than what it's normally known to be.
Grixer did manage to spot out Shaiko at the top of Cool Vibes stairs there. The Malusi was just up there buzzing around trying to make a nuisance of herself, but before he could get in and have any impact on the man himself, he disappeared back downstairs towards site. Time being, Rexon just seeing what he can find from that top floor. I think at this point the Soniqs are still trying to make sure that their access and their control of top floor is safe. They're looking to get in there and get, you know, hold of that area and start working down from the top, but they just don't seem quite confident yet that it's safe to go in.
Yeah, they've got 3 of them up towards VIP Penthouse Theatre area right now, so that vertical control is going to be on their side. And this from BDS are thinking about a run out, I thought, for a second, looking downstairs inside a service, but now they've tucked themselves in a little bit deep. One inside a bathroom. Dragon Canton, that was the extra hard reinforced floor area, now taken out and made loose. So they do have an angle inside of the bathroom if so desired, and this is where BDS might start to sweat a little bit, knowing that soon enough the sky will come raining down on them in the form of several floorboards. They have these pings coming through just like this. They might find themselves a freebie. The thing is, he's on the wrong side of the wall and won't be able to find him.
Breeder's gone down. Yeti finding that opener. Rafal's going to trade it out, leaving us 4 versus 4. Interestingly, BDS, no nitros in Handes, so they can't really do anything to this vertical pressure other than just try to fight back through the angles. And not always that easy to be finding kills through. Kansan continuing to open things up and just make it so there are less and less safe places inside of sight for the defenders to sit. Obviously, at some point, the Soniqs are going to have to think about getting Super inside of sight with that diffuser to try and get it planted.
But where are BDS? Completely off-site. This happens every time you attack into Kitchen, is that once you start opening up the vertical, defenders will just leave the site. They don't care, because now the onus is on you as the attackers to make and execute happen. You can flood the site, they will be ready, waiting for you at long range. Rexon, outside the front door, if only he'd held on a second or 2 more, might have seen his man. 2 kills by the way of Soniqs, and suddenly a 4 versus 3 is a 2 versus 3. Super's going for the plant. Alems has got the long range, but the smoke is blocking him out. He's still scared about the man who was on white stairs earlier on. Renshiro finding one for himself. Kan's going to find himself going down, but it's a 1 versus 3. Make it a 1 versus 2. Super wins it out. He's hitting some shots today. What is this?
He is. Not only that, got the diffuser down as well. Good round for the Soniqs. Nice attack. Got in there. Control. The thing is, like you say, we've seen this, you know, we saw this on Cafe as well, with BDS just trying to play off-site.
Yeah.
They've done it again, and it's not worked for them. It's, you know, they've allowed too much space.
It's the respect of the cross angles, right? I mean, Soniqs put the right idea on. They were trying to apply pressure into lobby. Because for those of you who haven't seen too much of Coastline since its minor rework, you can no longer plan inside of the service entrance doorway. You have to actually move into service to go for a plant. And teams said on the defensive side, well, we can now change the way we defend this area. What they often do is play inside of lobby or down towards security, open up the triple wall that looks inside of service, thank you very much, Easy, and they will just shoot through the long angles because you have to step into that area to be able to do anything about it. So as the attackers, you then need to go and meet the defenders and assault them inside of lobby. Now, whilst we didn't see Soniqs directly go and push their super strong, they did have someone tickling around the top of white stairs. They found a kill, and that put the shivers up the back of Alems because he knew he couldn't freely stare up in towards the site because someone could flank him off towards the right-hand side. So it's enough pressure to make BDS sweat, but not enough that they needed full control of lobby. For them, front door and that pressure from white stairs was enough, and that gave them the trigger to say, let's go, get a couple of kills, and stick the plants.
There was 2 difficulties as well with trying to challenge from security or lobby into the service area, and that was, there was a deployable shield in there, near bathroom door, that Super was able to play in behind, and there was also a smoke canister deployed by the attackers that just completely blocked the line of sight. And it was nicely played by Soniqs. They did everything they needed to. They recognised where the defence was, they recognised the important lines of sight, and they got the defuse down. So simple as that. Heading into round 9 then, 4 apiece at this point, and BDS certainly being run the distance by the Soniqs at the moment. This could go absolutely anywhere right now. It's going to be a defense of Kitchen once again. BDS doubling down here. See if they try and hold on to top floor a little bit longer. They've got the Wamai playing inside of Theatre there, and they've also got, I think, one out on the left-hand side of Lems is going to open things up with a kill onto Kansan to start us off.
Not the man you want to be losing if you're Soniqs. The guy's 12, well, was 12-4, now obviously 12-5 since Lems has taken him out in the round. But he's been your star player, the one that you want to keep going. Yeti, it's a very late trade, but it's a trade regardless. 1 for 1, and they've got control of Hookah now, which is what they were looking for. The Nomad giving them the ability to restrict BDS, and they brought it along in the vast majority of these rounds. Just to say to BDS, you want to try and play on these rotates and these flanks? We're going to know that you're coming.
Well, this is it. Nomad on course line can give you, basically, unless you've got an Oryx in play, which we don't here, you know, it can just give you complete confidence. You put an air jab on Cool Vibe stairs, you put an air jab on White stairs. So long as you know there's nobody up there, that's it. There's nobody coming back up, because if they do, they're going to get punched off their feet when they try to do so. So Nomad can give you a lot of confidence in playing those vertical angles. Going to start opening hatches now. I'm sure that it's a little bit of a difficulty for them, of that I'm certain. By losing the sledge, it means that they can't open up the verticality like they did previously. It might just impact how BDS play this. They might be a little bit more willing to stick around site.
I do want to give a nod towards Super, not just for the kills as well, but it's something I repeated over on the A stream the other day. But I had a good chat with Lycan before we came to this event, the coach of SSG, and he said to me, you can sit in the arena in Vegas, close your eyes, listen to what Super is saying, and you will know everything you need to about a round. He is a very good communicator, and the way that he moves with such, like, purpose just shows to me that he knows what it is he wants his team to get done. Speaking of getting things done, Grixer, another kill coming through in the round. Soniqs, once again, with a number advantage, are thinking about how they can start piling on the pressure.
Certainly are. Grixer just looking to make that challenge through. You can see BDS having to play on site here because Soniqs have got themselves established on that bottom floor and they've forced them back. We've got the Wamai of Shaiko there just dipping in and out of bathroom. One in service with him, that's Playday. So there's just Rafal to be found from BDS. I would imagine he's over by security. That's exactly where he appears on our screens from. But here comes the pressure. Super gets himself inside a site. And what a win on the gunfight from Rexon. Super can't stick the diffuser though, and is dead in an unfortunate team kill, but Grixer gets in. Can he rescue the situation? Oh, he cannot! He cannot! They can't get the diffuser in time, they can't put it down on the ground, and meanwhile BDS just keep chipping away at them.
It's the smoke canister again, man! Oh. The first one is the close range sprint in, but he picks up the diffuser from his dead comrade, goes for the plant, but is still being hit by the smoke. And that's how they go on to win the round. Otherwise, it's a 1v1 off site for a brief moment in time. Grixer versus Playday. You know, Breeday's dropping a good number of kills this game. He's on like 10 so far, I think. But looking at that, you would have maybe fancied Soniqs to go on to win the round. Unfortunate, a small detail, the same thing that probably could have cost them. That 1v3 earlier on that Playday came out the winner of. A couple of players dying to smoke where arguably they don't need to be.
Heading into round number 10 now, and it's honestly, Des, looks like it could potentially go all the way to 12 rounds here. You just keep seeing the Soniqs fight back, no matter how many times they sort of slip behind by that one round. They're always able to just chip away and come back, and that is the pattern that we have seen throughout this. BDS will go up by a round, Soniqs fight one back, BDS get one, Soniqs get one. It's been back and forward for the last 6 rounds, and it is absolutely fascinating right now. Very difficult to call which one of these two teams is going to come away with this. To give you some context inside of the group as well, this is really big. If BDS win this, then it's pretty much impossible for Soniqs to get through to the playoffs. It should be NIP and BDS that are going through to those final stages. However, if Soniqs are to get the win here, they tie up on points with BDS, and it is all to play for tomorrow on the final day. It really does throw it up in the air if Soniqs get the win here. Now then, round 10 is underway. We've got the action phase. Soniqs looking to get aggressive straight away. Kansan straight up onto that rappel, opening the hooker window, looking to catch anybody out who's just trying to move in through that rotation. Of course, BDS defending hooker and billiards here.
Absolutely. Okay then, the IQ back on side, as we've seen time and time again, in trying to deal with the Valkyrie of Alems, which of course should be dealt with pretty comfortably. Shaiko on the Mozzie, rather than something like the mute that we spoke about a little bit earlier on. But this hold has been torturous. I'd say when Soniqs have employed it, they've definitely really made BDS sweat more than arguably BDS will make Soniqs sweat. Just without the mirror, obviously a little bit of a different conversation. The drones are in place and looking elsewhere around the map. I'd like to see some pressure coming in from the east side because everything is in through hookah. I mean, Grix is in and he's already making a kill happen. They found 2. It's fell apart at the seams of BDS already. And I know it's a 5-4 scoreline, but it looks like it's going to be 5v5, or sorry, 5-5 before the round has even concluded. Triple kill for Grixer. Last time it was Kansan. Between them both doing absolute work and tearing BDS a new one. We're at 5-5. Did I hear someone? You smell that? Oh. Overtime's on the way.
Certainly on the cards at this rate. 5-5. If it continues, it should be another 1 round each. That has been the pattern so far. Soniqs able to draw themselves level again, and I know that aggression was something that they'd look to bring in their game against Invictus Gaming. It worked for them. They got the win, and they seem to just be doing it at the right times. They haven't been aggressive in every single round. We commented on that on the defense. Quite a few of the Soniqs successful rounds, they were nice and patient, and they allowed BDS to play into them, and they took the fights and took the kills as they presented themselves. Whereas there, the round was done by the 1:30 mark. Grixer just absolutely like a heat-seeking missile straight into hooker, got aggressive. This is my territory. There's a kill, there's a kill. We're going to win the round. And it was, again, beautifully played by Soniqs.
It reminds me a lot of the same thing that I was complimenting Dan1 Kier for, is the change in pace is just too much for some teams to deal with. And BDS might be one of those teams.
We've seen, to be fair, in EUL, we've seen BDS falter when they've been rushed like that before.
Yeah, and it's not so much just the rushing, it's more the change in pace itself. The team comes at you hard and fast, you can deal with that normally, if you expect it especially. But when a team has spent 60 to 90 seconds or so inside a round being slow and trying to clear things out, and then all of a sudden 3 or 4 of them just spring into action and you aren't ready, it can completely destabilize you. I mean, look at Playday when he was inside a bar there. He had no idea Grixer was inside a hookah, so clearly the call wasn't made. Oh, hookah, there's a guy there, watch out, whatever it is you want to say. They should have been aware that he was pushing in. A little bit of miscommunication on BDS's side, and it just all falls apart from there.
We've all been there. You know, it's that moment of,
yeah,
it's inside. You know, that is like, what is going on?
Normally followed by, how the bloody F is he there?
Usually speaking. Hooker and Billiards will be the site again then, as BDS decide to double down, think that they can do things differently. I doubt that they'll see the same sort of immediate pressure coming in, but that being said, Grixer is right up against this hooker door. He's looking to get himself involved. If he can do, he's just taking out utility, I think, just looking to try and find the mute jammer and just allow his drone to get in there. That's exactly what's going to happen, so he's going to be able to start feeding in a bit of information, just pinging out that magnet there so it can be taken down, also the Banshee as well. Getting a good idea of what the setup is like, but the Soniqs are a little bit slower this time. As to be expected.
I like this IQ sat on this corner just outside the building, can see everything inside of Sunrise, inside of Blue, inside of Hookah, and even somewhat inside of Billiards itself. So very nice from Rexon. Haven't seen that one employed before, but it's doing a good bit of work, and that grenade is beautiful. Mute jammer, shield, everything being taken away, and Vast has been broken super early.
Rafal just having to dip away there, taking a little bit of damage. We for a split second just lost the game footage. I don't know if you did on stream.
I imagine they did.
We're back. It doesn't matter, we're back.
We are back in game. 5 versus 5, still as I say,
Renshiro's down, Des.
speak them into existence. Renshiro's gone. Kansan traded back out. Grixer throwing some punches back the other way. It's 2 heavyweights going blow for blow, trade for trade in these rounds. But Soniqs, when it all boils down to it, are the ones that have got 4, and BDS left with 3. Playday trading it back, at least onto Grixer. The 2 players, Kansan and Grixer, have had a field day pushing onto this site, both taken off the board. Who's going to be our next super?
Lems is just wedged into the corner there. It's like he's trying to turn himself into a sheet of paper or something, just to get as flat as he possibly can against the wall there. But he has just managed to hold on for the time being. He's still being held in place by Rex, and they know that he is there. Lem's unable to get himself out of that corner at the minute.
He's bait. Look at him. They are furious that he's stuck in there. It's being yellow ping like no one's got any business about it, and they try to get him out, but they just cannot do. Oh,
he's not going anywhere. He's not going to move.
No. I mean, the thing is, Playday's covering him from bar, and that's exactly how the last man does his foot, and he's down. Very good. Soniqs finds one more back, and even though Rexon has found one going down, this one looks done and dusted. They expect him to be on the double window. He has moved away. In fact, so much so that Playday has gone, yep, I can get you back up again. They see the man walking in through the door. Shaiko, a slither of HP, and the closeout comes in. You got to say like maths.
Quick maths. So the Soniqs, it's do or die now. This is it, all or nothing. Yeah, they've got to, you know, throw the dice. They've got to take whatever risks they need to take. They need to get this one done, or it is over for them as far as the Sweden major continues. You know, it'd be a shame because I like what I've seen out of the Soniqs today. They've been an entertaining team to watch. I'd like to see this group continue into tomorrow. Obviously, NIP and Invictus, we don't know what's happened on the other stream, but you know, whatever's gone on there, I'd like to see this competition continue tomorrow. And if Soniqs can get the win here, then it really does, because it's all still to play for.
Agreed. I was really hoping Super was going to hit 7 kills. I really wanted to be able to say he's got a third of the number of kills in this game as he got in the entire stage of NAL Stage 3. And that's not me taking a dig, more acknowledging how on a LAN environment he has really showed up. He gets a lot of, you know, fair play to the guy. He gets a lot of stick on Twitter for like, oh, you can't get any kills. But, you know, he doesn't care. He delivers in different ways. And
what is that for?
Yeah, even here, well, the thing is, in this game, he kind of is. He's still getting the kills on the board and doing a great job whilst I-gelling his team up to a very close game against one of the current, in our opinion at least, the best team in Europe, arguably one of the best in the world. It's great to see Soniqs the last couple of events starting to make a bit of a name for themselves and becoming a mainstay at majors. So even if this game and this round does see the end of their major run, we'll get to see them play again a couple of games tomorrow, and I can't wait to see how more improvement will help them better themselves and get towards a stronger finish at events like these.
Rafal being chased out of Kitchen by Nades, just flying in there from Kansan, just forcing the Maestro out of position. That's going to allow Soniqs to potentially push forward there. And in they go. Rexon not messing about, not wasting any time in moving into that opportunity. He's going to take out the proximity alarm as well, so there's every chance that BDS aren't necessarily aware that Rexon has got this aggressive and pushed himself right up. Now, the fact that the drone has been taken out should tell him that there's somebody at the bottom of Cool Vibes stairs. It's going to be Playday. He's watching kitchen door. BDS, I'm pretty sure they're aware of Rexon.
He's being red pinged as well. Like, he knows that they know that he's here, but they've also got someone playing around pink, which I'm not too sure they're aware of, to be honest. Could play massive spoiler if Rafal can assist Playday here when a push comes through. Now, Soniqs have been presented with this problem, haven't yet made a move to, you know, act on it and get the kill off. They've got 2 inside a kitchen, 1 around pool entrance, and Playday thinking about hightailing it back upstairs and keeping himself safe. So where's the pressure coming in from the top side for Soniqs? Right now, there appears to be not.
Lem's inside a courtyard, and I'm not sure, I was going to say, I'm not sure if the Soniqs are aware of that or not, but they absolutely were, as Yeti shuts him down, but Shaiko gets one of his own to keep things 4-4. Shaiko playing above in hooker could be a bit of a problem here for Soniqs. They might need to deal with it. He's watching from the hatch there, and he's going to make it difficult for them to push in from pool entrance, and that is potentially the push that they're going to go for, to try and get next to that bomb chassis onto the default plant spot.
I said I wonder where the pressure from top of Cool Vibes was. Well, the answer was there was none, because Shaiko was covering inside a hookah and make sure they're safe. Playday has moved his way up to the top floor, leaving only Rafal on site at this point. Rexon's having to push his way upstairs to try and contest onto that. Playday getting the shutdown onto Yeti. It's been scrappy, but they are starting to get themselves closer to the finish line. Soniqs looking for their push in through Cool Vibes here, sorry, through the pool entrance. A 3 versus 3 as Kansan finds one. Kansan's gone down. Super finding the kill. It's all down to Rexon on the cover. Gets a wonderful kill, which means Super will be able to stick the plant. Rexon! Oh, Rexon! 3! Careers us through to overtime, and the boys looking at him like, damn, Rexon, where's that come from?
Perfectly timed moment from Rexon. That's when you needed that moment, to somebody to step up, grab the game by the scruff of the neck and drag it into overtime. Not 1, not 2, but 3 kills from Rexon. Super can be confident at that point in putting the diffuser down because his man has got him.
But the thing is, there's been 3 members on Soniqs that have pulled that off in this half. Kansan's 4K, Grixer with his 3K, now Rexon's come out and done the same thing. That's a lot of work to get them at least into overtime, and the dream is not yet dead. That is the scariest thing. Soniqs today, at the very least, have got themselves 4 points. They get themselves a win here, they move on to 5. BDS will only be on 7. That means there is all to play for tomorrow.
Quick maths. Even if BDS win, Soniqs are still in it.
Yep.
Because if BDS would have got the win in regulation time, it put them 6 points ahead, and that was the point where the Soniqs couldn't do anything. The Soniqs will be heavily dependent on BDS not picking up any other points, and they will need to pick up all 6 themselves. But it's still not over. I remember Mexico Major, when nobody thought Team 1 could do it, where nobody thought that rematch would happen.
The 7-2 and then the tiebreaker.
2 in the morning for you and I, and it happened. And we were like, yep, bring it on.
Me, you and poor Jackie.
You just never know. So the Soniqs just get into overtime. They've done themselves a big favour. They're going to do an even bigger one if they can win 2 of these 3 rounds.
Ooh, I mean, they get to attack on 2 of them as well. I know it's been the split all the way through, but I have a lot of confidence in Soniqs' attacks versus the attacks of BDS, so maybe this is actually worse off for the Soniqs, but I would have felt a lot more shaky if it was BDS on the double attacking side. We'll see how this round plays out, and of course, the way that round 14 takes us will influence whether or not we see a round 15. For now, for Soniqs, it's going to be a repetition of what we've seen already in the last 6 rounds. The only thing that makes me a little bit nervous is a few of those rounds have come down, as I mentioned, to Kansan, Rexon and Grixer walking away with multi-kills to really grab these rounds by the scruff of the neck and force them through to victory. You can't guarantee that happens every single time.
Super, just getting on the rappel.
Imagine if drones could fall through the floorboards, by the way. I look at it every time and just think, surely they're like skinny enough to fall through.
It'd be a nightmare for me. I know.
Honestly.
I'd be every single time. To be honest, if a hatch is open, it's like I'll drop down it, I'll send a drone down it, even if...
Or a frost mat.
Whatever.
You and your frost mats, you're a nightmare. Lots of nades being yeeted up onto bars here, and finally it being cleared out. Also a bit of a nod given to Rafali. He's danced around this dangerous game a lot in this half and has known the right time every single time, whether to run down towards Cool Vibes, to hightail it around the corner enough that he's danced around a good number of frag grenades. Has been caught out once or twice, but we'll ignore that small detail for now.
Certainly will. All the pressure from the Soniqs coming in towards the hooker side here. If BDS recognise that, they can pretty much start ignoring Aquarium and they can put all guns in this direction. I'm not sure whether all the eggs should be going into one basket for the Soniqs here, but I have just caught a silhouette out of the corner of my eye, and I think there may be somebody heading over to Aquarium on the rooftop to potentially put a little bit of pressure over that side, which would be, I think, a good thing. All the utility, though, is starting to rein in. They're forcing one after another of BDS out of position.
One is in Aqua, you are right, but the rest of them all trying to push their way into hookah here. Now Playday knows that Rexon is stepping in. All he's got to do is hold firm. It does mean the rest of BDS need to be careful whilst Rexon's here, and to be fair, he could just hold this angle. They know that Vaz is now clear, and he's got to wait for someone to peek him. Don't feel the need to go hyper-aggressive when this isn't the play for your team, and instead gets flanked on by Shoko and an easy shutdown as the rest of Soniqs rotate over. The problem is, Shoko does things like this for fun. Gets 2 big kills, Yeti finds one onto Renshiro, and Breeday's on the deck. It's a 3 versus 3, and 30 seconds to play.
Still possible here. Grixer, unfortunate there as the head just dips down Cool Vibe stairs. It's Alems who's been playing there. He could potentially move up. It's essentially 3 versus 3 here, Des, as Breeder is down. So this is possible. Super moves in with the diffuser. Potential opportunity to get it down here. It's all going to come down to this challenge from Grixer. He takes a lot of damage, doesn't find any kills. Super has no choice but to start putting it down. He's dead, and this round is over. BDS going to win that one. They take the lead once again. They're going to have another match point opportunity. Soniqs, they're going to have to find something on defense.
Bit of a kicker there as well, because Yeti had the doorway covered, but they couldn't deal with the man on Cool Vibes. C4 coming out, the swing coming in just after. Maybe a few panic stations and alarms going off there for Soniqs. BDS move up to match point. It has been a grueling effort to get to this point, and as I mentioned a few times, BDS have looked slow. Their drones have bled out incredibly quickly against the Soniqs, so we've got to see some kind of change coming in here. It's been 7 rounds since they've been on the attack. I'm thinking it's not going to be that clear cut. They might find themselves faltering here, and it all comes down to round 15.
Certainly does. We're going to have the 6th pick coming in there. Kansan moving from the mirror to the Valkyrie. It's going to be a kitchen defense for the Soniqs here. They're going to have to hold this site down. It's the last bastion, so to speak. They really need to find something here. They need to fortify to prevent BDS getting in. I just feel like BDS have got that win at the right time. Shiko coming in with a nice flank, couple of big kills, a little bit of a confidence boost. I think this could be a problem for the Soniqs.
Well, cooking up a storm in the kitchen. Soniqs with their final setup and defense, as we said a couple of times. A good read on the side of BDS into that Valkyrie pick coming out too. So they should have the ability to get rid of those black eye cams. Rafal, of course, back on that Twitch. We followed him for much of the first half. I imagine we'll be doing much the same now to see what gadgetry he can remove. The key things to target, naturally, are going to be those default cams and the ADSs. If he clears out a good number of them, suddenly you might see the other members, the two nade wielders in the form of Shaiko and Renshiro, netting themselves a couple of kills on the go.
Out goes the external Valkyrie cam. Lems is just going to be out there with the scanner. We'll pick that up, and there we go. Taken down, nice and easy. That's going to be at least a little bit of utility burnt from BDS already. Only 20 seconds gone off the clock. We've got Shaiko established on hooker balcony, starting to open that door up, and BDS are not messing about here, Des.
Absolutely not. However, drones are slowly whittling down on their side. Not that it matters, because ultimately it's the kills that count, not the ones onto the drones, the ones onto the operators on the other team. Kansan removed relatively early on. Rexon moving his way here up through luggage. If he manages to get a cheeky little flank onto anyone hanging out on towards the Aqua side, it would be fantastic. There's currently no one there, though. There's one on the roof, and I believe one was playing downstairs. So it's going to be a slow start, slightly mistimed on his side. Shaiko just holding this angle, daring someone to step across.
Exactly that. Knows that there is a man playing in the corridor there. Can't find the shots, but does force him back a little bit. Grixer just rotating out. He's going to be... Was he picked up by that drone, or did he just hit his cloaking device in time? I think he probably did actually cover himself off. They'll know that there's a vigil somewhere, but could be office, could be aquarium. You've got to be careful moving in there. BDS are not going to want to be face-checking too much of the map if they can avoid it.
So we said earlier on as well about, drone intel is only good, well, any kind of intel is only good for 5 seconds. You're seeing it in action in this round for Soniqs. They are moving constantly. I don't think I've seen Yeti, Grixer, or Rexon stand still yet. They are constantly keeping BDS guessing and desperate for information. They're down to 3 drones in the last 80 seconds or so of this round. It's going to rely on winning some fantastic gunfights and not getting hit on the flank, because they might just be about to.
Certainly looking that way. Lems looking to take that long fight down into security. Not going to find anybody. Still 5 versus 4 here for BDS. Even the site. But they haven't. I'm going to say they haven't really built towards the site at this point. They haven't really got much control there. They're still just chasing Soniqs around the map.
That's the problem, right? You're being distracted from the main objective, and BDS normally are a fantastic objective team. This game, a little bit messy as it currently stands. Let's see what they can do now they're being stalled out by the smoke. It's going to come down to a push point of pressure for the side of BDS, where they'll have no choice but to make a push happen. My God, I hope for their sake they've got the plants covered when this starts to kick off. Another smoke canister coming off. Super still with one on side, throws that out, deploys it. We're going to have about 10 seconds, and then all the action should kick off, Ace.
Rexon just getting a view of the man on the double window there, unable to take his shot. Shaiko tries to dump a nade into sight, still in the process of clearing utility. 15 seconds left to go, and they need to make a move here, BDS. They've got the man advantage, but can they find even more? Lems gets Yeti, Playday gets Super. It's all falling apart for the Soniqs. 4 versus 1 becomes 4 versus none as BDS take the game in overtime, but the Soniqs still do enough to technically keep the dream alive, Des. It's going to be a big ask for them tomorrow, but they are still potentially in the running.
Outside of a regulation win, the more points they could get, the better.